Good morning, good morning. So today, have you ever come across something, an event or something in your life that you really wanted to do and you got excited about and you really wanted to go forward with it, but it didn't quite happen, and for some reason you couldn't quite get there. You couldn't make it through a hurdle, or a barrier, or a block. And then later you've looked back and really regretted not doing that thing. Well, you're not alone. That happens so often to people, and it all comes from fear, the fear of change. And I'm James Foster, and careers matter. So there's a whole psychology, and I'm not going to talk about the psychology to that extent today, about the fear of change and about the process that we as human beings, as we as people, go through whenever any change is foisted upon us, whether that's voluntary change or involuntary change, as in redundancy or wanting to change your job. But you can get excited, you can get really wound up by the whole thing and want to take it forward. But that fear, that doubt, that uncertainty that lingers in the back of your mind is like, and I use this expression a lot, it's like an anchor that's holding you back. And getting past that anchor, getting to the next step that's actually going to take you through, is really, really a difficult process to go through, and can be a difficult process to go through. Now, obviously, people are changing their jobs all the time, but usually they've gone through a process to get there in the first place when they make a decision, or it's forced upon them, like as in redundancy, and so they've got to go through it, or the circumstances at the business they're at are so bad that that they are forced to make that change. But when you confront somebody with change, the first reaction of most people is, I'm really excited. The second reaction is, I don't know, it's uncertain. And part of our process as headhunters is to walk people through that process, and so that they actually do get through to the other side of it. But procrastination and and in paralysis, if you like, are an outcome of this that impact all of us. So when you're sort of sitting there looking at a new project, looking at something new in your life. Good morning, Angela. Looking at something new in your life, and your mind just won't let you take that step. That procrastination, that fear, holds you back. And I think the thing with most people is that they don't understand that it is psychology, that it is a natural reaction. If the change has been brought on you, the first reaction, of course, is going to be shock. That you've got to make the change in the first place. So why? What's all this about? Why me? What? It's that shock, that, and then almost denial, as the whole thing sinks and sets in. If you're making the change yourself, you go through that sort of a process as well, because that's inbuilt into us to do that. You may not describe it as shock, but it's a realization that things are going to be different. That you are here now, and you're going to be, if you make the change, you're going to be over there, and you don't know what's over there, and it's very, very scary. What if, the good old what if. Some people, what if their life away? What if just stops everything if we keep on with that mindset. A mentor of mine, calls this stacking, where you sit back and you just make a list in your mind of all the things that could possibly go wrong, and it holds you back and it stops you from acting. I'm going through a process of launching a new training module, a new training course, actually, an online training course. And yes, this is a plug, which is called what's it called? Which is called Careers Mastery, and this is going to be a big ticket item. And I'm stacking things in my mind. What if people don't want it? What if I go through and do all this work and nobody wants to buy it? What if? Because what if will kill the best projects if you let it. But incidentally, the way around building, around stacking the what if it's bad is to go, what if it's good? So what if people do buy it? What if people do get excited by it? What if it makes a change in people's lives? What if this makes my business, takes my business to the next level? And then you build up the positive stacking. And that's the way to deal with the change in, when you're considering, what if this isn't going to get me, this isn't going to work to get me over there? Ask the questions, what if it does work to get me over there? And the other way, or another tool that we can use with that, is to project yourself forward to after the change has been made, and then to look back and ask yourself questions about what changes have happened. How am I better off now? How has this made my life better? How has this made my business better? How has this made my job better? In what ways, and project yourself into a positive framework that will help you to overcome the barriers, the hurdles that are, it's mental barriers and mental hurdles that are holding you back. And, the positive mindset, which is really what we're talking about here, is building a positive mindset, is exactly what you need to concentrate and focus on when you're coming across any change. And we are changing things in our lives all the time. Obviously, the subject I'm talking about here is big change. But every little change, every little thing that you do is fraught, if you like, with this feeling of doubt, uncertainty, and it's because we don't know what's down the line, and we don't. If we're honest, if you change your job, it might bomb. You may find yourself in a situation worse than you are now, or you may not. And you don't know. And holding back on what you don't know isn't going to help you grow. It isn't going to help you develop. You will, one way or another, learn something by going through the process into another job. The very least you'll do is you'll pick up some mistakes along the way that you made, and know not to make those the next time. There is always something positive to come out of anything that you do. And if you've got to look at it in those sorts of terms, you've got to look at, otherwise you're going to hold yourself back from everything. And I know, and this is genuinely the case, I know many people have gone through their entire life fearing to do anything different because this is who I am. There was a mindset in years gone by that you'd get into a job and that would be your job for life. And that's what we are. That's what we're born to. We don't become anything different to that. And it came out of the society we lived in at the time. If I look at my grandfather was born in 1900, to give you a bit of an idea. He became a coal miner when he was 14, so that would be in 1914, just as the First World War was kicking off, and he retired a coal miner. However many years later it was, I'll work it out in a minute. 51 years later, he retired from being a coal miner. It spent a lot of that time above ground, not below ground, because he'd had an accident that's prevented him from going down the pits. But he'd spent the whole of his working life as a coal miner, working in the pits in Cresswell Colliery, up in Derbyshire, on the Derbyshire-Nottinghamshire border. So, and that was his mindset. He was a coal miner. He would always be a coal miner. He never had ambition to be anything else. That was the mindset at the time. If you'd have gone to him and this when the pits were closed in the 80s, 90s, this was part of the problem that happened, is that nobody could see anything the other side of it. That whole community in Derbyshire was built around the collieries. There was a pit in Cresswell. There was another one in a place called Clown down the road. You moved up the road a little way to a place called Langworth. There was two pits in Langworth. There was another one in Shirebrook, and you know that the whole of the industry, if you like, or the whole of the economy of the area was based around coal mining. And so when you look at change from that, you get the riots that ensued, easily stoked up by some extremism, but you get people who are afraid to make that change, can't see what the other side brings. And it was a monumental change for the region, and not just that central sort of north East Midland region. It was extensive across the whole of the heartland of England and into Wales. So you know where the whole where a very large part of British industry has gone and moved. The same with shipbuilding. The same with so many other what had been large industry base for the UK, and it's all changed. Everybody's looking back and going, we're not that anymore, with fear, rather than let's look forward to be what we can be. And it was a very painful process that people went through, but that is exactly what we're talking about with your life. Each and every day you make decisions about change, and when you're making large changes in your life, then that fear, that procrastination, holds you back from doing what's necessary to get you over to that new state, that new opportunity, that new job, that new challenge. You know, your boss comes to you and goes, I've got a great project for you, do you want to do it? And the first thing to do is go, yeah, that sounds exciting. The very second thing you do is go, can I do this? It's inbuilt into us. It's that fear. Can I do it? Is this something? Will I fail? That fear of failure, fear of ability, fear of whatever it is. It holds you back. And the very first thing you need to tackle that fear, to tackle that that anchor that's holding you back, is to accept that it's normal, and to understand that for all of us it's exactly the same. And it doesn't matter if you're Richard Branson or if you're Elon Musk or whoever. They've had to make those decisions to move and to take that step. I mean, imagine if you would, going back into the 70s when Richard Branson first started Virgin, the Virgin company with his record shops. It was a huge decision because he put everything into it. It must have been really scary. Yet look at him now. And that's exactly the sort of opportunities that we stop ourselves from going for if we don't accept that change to some extent is inevitable, and that fear of change is normal, and start looking at things in a more positive. What if it works? What if and if the worst comes to the worst and it doesn't, then I've learnt, I've gained. And that's the mental attitude that we need, that gets us over change. Gets us over change? Yeah, helps us to overcome the fear of change. So this is James Foster and Careers Matter. Before I go, as I said, I am going to be launching a new course, Career Mastery. This is a big course. It's going to be 3 sessions over 3 days of 2 to 3 hours per day, and we're going to be talking about exactly these things, about change, about goals, how to set effective goals that you will achieve, understanding why you want to achieve those goals, giving you the right mindset that's going to help you to go forward, creating the plan that will get you from where you are now to where you need to be or where you want to be. And then we're going to give you more of this psychology, the psychology of change, the psychology of the job that you do, why you are good at certain things and not so good at other things. And we're going to talk you through all of that. And then we're going to talk you through selling, how you sell, how you need to sell yourself, and how to see the value that you bring to organizations, to what difference you can make, the difference that you can bring to an organization, and the value that that adds to the bottom line of that company, and how to use that in order to move your career and to keep it on track and to take it to where you need to get to. And then we're going to talk about the recruitment sector as a whole, how it works and why it often doesn't, and how to negotiate and get through all the various challenges along the way, including writing an effective CV, including making a quality presentation, and how to identify the organisations that are going to be looking for you. Now, these are the component parts. The benefits are clear. For you, it means that you will have a path that will take you from where you are today to where you really want to get to in your career and in your life. And we'll give you the tools that will help you to get there. And we will hold your hand along the way if that's what you need as well. So this is James Foster, and Careers Matter.